we're bringing the holidays home, and I'd like to share them with you. Well, I've had so much fun creating lots of Christmas projects. We'll discover wintertime friends by making stuffed angels and Santas, and even a wintertime snowman quilt. Oh, they're great projects for the afternoon with a cup of hot chocolate by your side. I'll share some great ideas for patchwork throughout the house with some festive wall hangings like this bow tie wreath. Oh, the technique is really unique. And woven stars. Oh, it's such a versatile pattern. Well, my son Orion even made this bachelor's puzzle pillow, and he was showing me how well his points matched. Well, you can never have too many clothes, right? Well, I'll show you how you can deck yourself out for the holidays with some festive wearables featuring patchwork and yo-yos. And then as we get closer to Christmas, you'll see how to dress up the mantel with stockings like this poinsettia applique and courthouse steps. And we can't forget about decorating the tree from top to bottom with angels made from Battenberg lace and jingle Santas right down to the scallop tree skirt. We'll even do some paper piecing to herald the arrival of the king. Now, wouldn't that make a great Christmas gift? And finally, Christmas Day and the holiday feast. Well, I'll share some beautiful table settings from the pine tree table runner to candle placemats and silk ribbon napkin roses. Oh, I just love getting ready for Christmas. Well, I can't wait to show you all these wonderful projects and creations that you can make in time for your next holiday season. My festive friends are joining us today just to get us in the mood for the holidays. Oh, I want you to meet Nicholas. Oh, he's wonderful with his beard of lamb's wool, and that sack is just full of treasures. Oh, and our angel is heavenly with her hair of Spanish moss and some dried roses glued right into it. Oh, how about that snowman? He looks so frosty, ready for the weather. You know, those two are so easy that kids can even do them. And they're all dressed up in their recycled quilts. Now, a recycled quilt comes from a cutter quilt. Oh, cutter quilt should look something like this. It's so badly worn that it's no longer useful as a bed cover. Perhaps it has the batting hanging out of it. Oh my gosh, holes in the fabric. And perhaps the original owner even reinforced it with some stitching on the backside just to hold it all together. Well, it should be light in weight so that you can go ahead and sew it. Now, you know, I have bought so many cutter quilts and have never had the heart to use them. I bought this one last year, couldn't cut it up, and it ended up under my Christmas tree. Well, perhaps you're the same. Maybe you don't have a cutter quilt, or you don't have the heart to cut up one. Well, I'd like to show you how to take some fabric and show you how to make it look old. You should start out with something like this. Oh, how about some rich burgundy muslin piece like this? And how about the 9 patch? Oh, that has to be the easiest patching that you can do. Now, this 9 patch comes from 1.5 inch strips. You need to have twice as many as this one as you do of this one. These are 1.5 inch. Press the seams in towards that dark side with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then once you have those seams pressed, boy, is this amazing, because you can just put them right on top of each other, roll them right in so those seams interlock. Now, there were 1.5 inch strips, so take your ruler and just on that left end, square it off, and then cut these into 1.5 inch segments. Ooh, that looks good. Cut up that whole strip because, you know, for the angel and the snowman, you'll need to make 12 9 patch, and oh, for that Nicholas, you need to have 54 9 patch. So just wiggle those seams together and just assembly line sew them. Oh, if I could just get my foot on the sewing machine, we'd get it rolling. Just hold that down tight, line that up, and zoom that right across. And then once you've got these two that are paired up. All you need to do is put one more strip right on that side, and you're going to have some great 9 patches. Press those and measure them. And whatever size this piece is, then you want to go ahead and cut some solid squares exactly the same size. Pair them up, sew them together, assembly line. Then 2 of those are going to make a row. Let's just add this right onto the top that I already have. Piece that whole top together. Now the best part comes because you're going to take it and layer it first with muslin on the bottom and then some flannel. Oh, heavyweight 100% cotton flannel. Layer it up, do some pinning, and then follow it up with some diagonal machine quilting. Oh, just go right through all those edges. Now, to make it look old, take this piece and toss it in the washer. Wash it twice and dry it in between. Then it gets that shrunk up look, nice and thick. Perfect. Now, once you've got your top done, you might want to go ahead and just throw it in your morning cup of coffee. How about that? Or your leftover morning cup, I should say. This one was just a plain old quilt. This one was just soaked in some coffee and then dried. Makes it look even older. Well, this is our snowman made out of this 9 patch. Let me get Nicholas ready. The image and legend of Nicholas has delighted children for over 1,000 years. Oh, this Nicholas is so charming in his coat made from a cutter quilt. Just love that little wreath he's carrying, his little sack of treasures. Well, we had so much fun making our 9 patch quilt, and oh, the coat is so simple with this old quilt. Look at that. No set-in seams. Wouldn't you just love to make a coat without set-in seams? Now this is what the hat looks like. It's just a simple shape as well. And you might want to seam it so that you have those raw edges exposed on the old quilt. Fray that out. Or if you'd like to have the edges like this, just go ahead and sew it so that those seams are encased right inside, no raw edges showing. Well, when you make a coat and a hat out of an old quilt, oh, that's easy. But what if you'd like to make a more elegant necklace like this one? Well, he's made out of fabric and lining, and you can see how those cuffs are turned over. You can see no raw seams. That's just great. Well, it's pretty easy to do with this fabric right here. This is the coat, and this is the lining. Oh, remember that the red's the coat, this is the lining. And the first thing that you want to do is take each one of them and sew their shoulder seams together. Now, once you have the shoulder seams done, put it right sides together, just open that out and sew along the cuff and along the bottom, right sides together on both of those pieces. Now, this is getting tricky. You want to take it and fold it so that the coat is right sides together like this. This is actually just like the vest lining, if you remember that. And pin just the coat. Let me stick some pins right in here, right along here, just so I know where I'm working from. And then from the opposite side, take your hand straight through, right behind the lining, and grab right onto those pins. Hold onto those pins and pull it through to the opposite side and pull it out. Oh gosh, this looks confusing, doesn't it? Well, you're going to be amazed at how well it works. Now, once you have that pinned together, just shake it out a little bit. Just remember that red is the coat. Use a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Ooh, it would help if I turned on my machine, wouldn't it? And just sew with that 1/4-inch seam, and you just keep on pulling it and twisting it around. Basically, you're sewing in a circle. Just keep on turning and twisting. Let me line that up there and just keep on going. Okay, now I've gone under the underseam of the coat, and now I'm going to just stitch right through onto the lining. Oh, that's good. So why don't I tell you about Nicholas? Well, I finished sewing around here. You know, he was born about 300 years after the very first Christmas. He was actually born in a country that's now known as Turkey. And oh, his legend of gift giving spread throughout the land. Oh gosh, look at that. I'm right back, right to where I started from. Okay, that was the beginning. That's right where I started. Take those pins out. Ooh, pull this out. Shake this out. Let's see if we've got it completely sewn along that side. Oh yeah, see? Right along. This looks like a mess, doesn't it? See if I can poke this out here. A lot of poking and pulling, but you're gonna love it. Watch, this is the hem. Along there, here's the sleeve here, there's the cuff. Looking good. Okay, now lay it out flat. We have that one seam completely done along here, and now all we have to do is this seam right along here. And what we're going to do is just pin it starting on the lining. Just take a couple of pins right down near the hem, put some pins in, and work it so that you line this seam up, and you start sewing on the lining and sew towards the coat. We're just going to continue in a circle one more time. Okay, here's the coat all ready to go. Looks perfect. See how you can just fold that back for the cuffs. Now, how about the body? Oh, goodness sakes. Nicholas has such a funny body on him. Actually, this is the front piece. He has a little nose right here, a mouth. Sew that in red stitching. This is 2 pieces, right sides together. Now, once you sew down that seam, and this is the back piece, you want to just put it right sides together. You're going to stitch up around the head. We'll make that seam flatten down. And then just take it, that's what it looks like, and turn it right side out. The very first thing that you want to do, look at that. This guy has a nose on him. Let's see if we can pull that out. But you want to go ahead and stuff the nose. And stuff it firmly, because if you don't stuff the nose firmly, he just won't have much of a body on him. But stuff firmly on the nose, and then as you work down, go ahead and stuff up on the top of his head, stuff out a chin for him, stuff very firmly, clear down to the bottom. And when you get down to the bottom, all you're going to do is take a piece of wood, a piece of pine, and just insert it, fold up that bottom 2 inches, insert that wood in there, and you can go ahead and put some staples in or perhaps some thumbtacks, and that'll work out great. Well, let's see if this coat is going to fit on Nicholas. Oh, it's such a funny looking guy. Well, how about let's start and just slip this coat right over his head. Has a nice opening at the top. What a funny looking Santa Claus here. Oh, just like dressing kids, give it a good pull down over the head. Once you've got this coat in place, you might want to take some cotton and give him some padding right in here, right in the shoulder seams, just to make him have some type of a shoulder there. That's looking better. You can do that. Some right in here. Like so. Oh, it looks like a football player now instead of a Santa Claus. Hey, now, plan where the eyes are going to go. They're going to go right about here. The best way is just to take a long doll needle, looks like this, take some stitches from the back side. Ooh, I feel like this is torture here. Bring it right out where you want it to be, and then take a button. We'll just put these on loosely. Okay, once you take a button, put it on one end, push that needle back through and pull it tight. See how you can create some dimension just by sewing the eyes through all the thicknesses. And then I would go back and forth several times just so you create that. But when you pull, then you create that. Ooh, he looks a little cross-eyed there maybe. Oh, funny looking guy here. How about a little makeup? He needs some touch. He needs that little touch of makeup on his cheeks, right like that. And then how about some of this wonderful lamb's wool? Get a hot glue gun, kind of plan along there where you'd like his beard to be. This is actually low temperature. This is a low melt glue gun. And you want to do that so that you don't burn yourself. Oh my gosh, have you ever burnt yourself with a glue gun? It's very painful. You might want to keep some cold water around. Just work some whiskers around here. That's looking good. Then you need to have a little bit of a mustache going along. Put some fur right here. Let's just pull this guy over and see how he looks all finished up. Whoa, what a great Saint Nick. just go ahead and finish them up and embellish them with all the trimmings. Let your spirits soar with this heavenly treasure. Oh, she's darling, made out of an old quilt, but you'll cherish her just as much made out of a dress or scarf. You might even want to mount her right in a 24-inch wreath. She's great. Now, if you're like me, you might collect dresser scarves. Gosh, I can't collect enough of them. Now, this one is a little small for the pattern, so I just placed it on top of a piece of batting and then a piece of lining underneath. So whenever I put the pattern for the angel's dress, then all I'm going to do is just trim around there. Ooh, and have a nice scallop lacy bottom edge. You can take your ruler and your rotary cutter. Ooh, let's hope I get some square lines after all of that pressing and all of that stitching that somebody did. I don't want to mess it up now. You know, usually whenever the kids move out, you take that room over and you turn it into a sewing room. But actually, Grant is living on his own now, and I think that I turned his bedroom into an antique linen closet. Oh, let's see, just one little bit up here. And I think I have her dress. Oh, look at that. All of those scallops on the bottom, it's great. Now, the head has the eyes already marked on them. I think that's the hardest thing about making a doll, where to get those eyes placed. So just flip the head right sides together to the dress and use a 1/4 inch seam right up here at the neck. Oh, let's see if we can just zoom right across there. Back right up, back stitch on the end. And then all you need to do, once you have her sewn, open that out. Oh, look. See, we could go ahead and take some lace from this and embellish her right at the neckline. That would be perfect. But once you have that done, let me just get rid of that. Gosh, it's in the way. Take a piece of lining, and preferably the same color as you used as the lining on the dress, and pin it right sides together to it, and then just stitch around the outside edge, leave an opening right there, and turn it right side out. Well, you know I'm a whiz. Look at this. Already have her completed. Dresser scarves all done. Little trim right at the neck. Now her wings are very simple, easy shape, and it does have some fusible interfacing right on the back side to make them stiff. That's an easy part. How about her arms? Gosh, they're just as easy. Now I used parts of my quilt from Nicholas for this one. This is the shape, and I just took the hand piece, small piece right here, and you stitch along. And then once you stitch, fold it down, little bit of lace right there in the cuff. Put it right sides together, stitch around, and turn right through. Now this is a good trick for you if you're a crafter. How about stuffing? Gosh, when you have these long skinny things, you'll wonder what to do with them. But the hemostats are great for taking a thin piece of batting, and you can just go ahead and take it right through that opening. Of course, I'm getting it in between the quilt pieces. That'll never work. So out on one end, take that piece of batting and then just stick it through the other. And then all you need to do to finish that hand is just do a bit of gathering right across there. Let me see if I can glue this up now. You know, actually I think that this angel would be perfect at any time of the year, not just at Christmas. Well, let's take her wings now. Let's see. Oh, her arms. Gotta get these body parts right. Take her arms. Wrap them around. Oh, how about a little bit of hot glue right here, right where we did that gathering, and we can put that in place. Now right here in her hands, why don't we just put a nosegay made from a little doily, some artificial flowers, some silk flowers. If I can do this without burning myself. Low temperature glue again, the only kind of glue. Oh, that looks great. I love that. I have a cameo pinned in place for her. And then all I need along the back is her wings. Put that right behind and position it. Now, you could go ahead and do the Spanish moss and some of the rosebuds, but what if you'd go ahead, take some other kind of yarn, glue that across the top of her hair, give her a little bow here, some earrings. Oh, she would be perfect. Look at that cameo and her flowers. Well, they are so easy to do, you could make a whole choir of celestial angels. Nothing says winter more than the sight of decorated Christmas trees and snowmen with frosty smiles. Oh, this is just a great, easy wall hanging to do. And look at those two. Aren't they having a great time with those lights strung between each other? Oh, it's pretty easy and fun. You know, actually, it's a 9-block wall hanging. You're going to be making 5 snowmen and 4 Christmas trees. It's an easy applique done with paper-backed web fusing. This is what it looks like. It's paper on one side, and then the fusing is on the other. Now go ahead and make templates of your snowman, of your tree, and just trace them right on your paper. And then once you have it traced, separate them out and take them to the ironing board. Now I actually already have some pressing that I did. You take that paper-backed web fusing and you press it on the wrong side of your fabric like this. Oh, only about 2 seconds. It's going to go really fast. And then once you have it heated in place, take it and just trim out around those outside edges. Oh, look at these big long scissors go pretty fast cutting that apart. Cut your background squares into 7.5-inch squares. You need to have a light for the tree and a dark for the snowman. And then get hold of a corner. Just peel that paper away. Perfect. Center a trunk, just a little piece right there. Put the tree right in the middle. See if I can get that all lined up. Oof, looking good. And then you're going to press it a couple of seconds longer here, about 4 or 5 seconds. And I actually just like to flip it over and press it on the wrong side as well. Now the snowman is on 100% cotton, and you're going to just be pressing it right on the batting, trim around, and turn it. Okay, now take this back to your sewing machine and set with a blanket stitch. Now a blanket stitch looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and line up the edge of my foot right on the outside edge and then take a bite in. Oh, I took one stitch too early. You'll see that on the background. Bite on the blanket stitch, background over into the tree. I have heavier thread in. I have a large number 14 needle, so that actually when you see that stitch, it looks very similar to a hand stitch. Oh, I love it. Red thread around that tree looks good. Now once you have all of your stitching done around the snowman and around the tree, sew those 9 blocks together. I've actually been working on one earlier. I'll pull that up as soon as I show you that colorful border. That comes from 2.5-inch strips. 5 different 2.5-inch strips. Seam them together with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then once you have your sewing done, press your seams to one side and then cut them into segments. Gosh, I sure want to get this one straight. Let me line that up a little bit better. You can go ahead and use your grid to help you with your cutting, but you're going to cut 3 for each side. 3 for each side, and sew them together until you have 15 in one long strip. Now we'll take a look at this quilt because I've already got it layered with my backing, then my batting, and then the quilt on top. And you can see that I did some machine quilting down through the 9 patches and around those trees. Oh, it's looking great. Now this is a folded border. It's easy to do. It comes from a 1.5-inch wide strip that's been pressed together and just cut the same size as the 9 patch. And then basically it's a flip and sew technique where you put it right sides together inside this border, stitch through all thicknesses, and then you just fold it out. Now that 15 strip with those 15 pieces on it, lay it out and see if it fits. And oh, if you did your sewing accurately, it should be about 2 extra. So what you want to do is just go ahead and unsew 2 for 2 sides, and just take your rotary cutter, pull on those stitches, and just drop that blade across it so you get that done. Okay, so 2 to this side, right sides together, fold it out, and then on the remaining 2 sides, and all you have to do is add your binding. Now that snowman is such an easy shape to do. You're gonna love it. You could do it out of chenille or out of 100% cotton, just sew right around the outside edge. Well, why don't you just go ahead and get your friends done, because then they can help you finish the rest of our projects.